जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनतीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय मिश्रपाद परमंस परिव्राजकतरेष्ठोत्तर सतर श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय मिश्रपाद परमंस परिव्राजकतरेष्ठोत्तर सतर श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस शील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service, Text number 25. Satam prasangan mama virya samvidaha. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido. Bhavanti hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. Bhavanti hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. Bhavanti hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. Tat joshanat ashu apavarga vartmani. Tat joshanat ashu apavarga vartmani. Tat joshanat ashu apavarga vartmani. Shraddha ratihi bhaktihi anukramishati. Shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishati. Shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishati. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido. Bhavanti hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. Tajjoshanada swapavarga vartmani. Shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishati. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido. Bhavanti hrit karna rasayana kathaha. Tajjoshanada swapavarga vartmani. Shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishati. Satam of pure devotees, prasangat through the association, mama, my, vidya, wonderful activities, samvidaha, by discussion of, bhavanti, become, hrit, to the heart, karna, to the ear, rasa ayanaha, pleasing, kathaha, the stories, tat, of that, joshanat, by cultivation, ashu, quickly, apavarga, of liberation, vartmani, on the path, shraddha, firm faith, ratihi, attraction, bhaktihi, devotion, anukramishyati, will follow in order. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. Kindly repeat. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed, and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Because they do not associate with devotees, they cannot understand that the absolute truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is a very difficult subject matter. And unless one has personal understanding of the absolute truth, there is no meaning to devotion. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think that these activities are fictional, manufactured stories, because spiritual life is not explained to them in the proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees, and by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open and he is freed. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops the consciousness for rendering service to the Lord, and then, being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service, he gradually becomes perfect. Dasa Bhaktivedanta purport. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणम्। As we speak today, month of April, especially in India, this is the time when summer starts. May is when summer starts. We are towards the end of April, but already temperatures have started soaring. And I think all over the world, the temperatures have been higher than normal. And India also we are feeling the heat. Normally, before the summer, there is some showers because of which the temperatures are subdued. And this time, because those showers have not come, the situation has been exacerbated. The scientists are saying we are not able to understand why the temperatures have gone up. And they are saying maybe the ocean temperature has gone up. Probably it could be because of that. And they are saying we really don't know why it has become so hot. Some parts of India temperatures have already crossed 40 degrees. Already they are on the verge of 45 degrees centigrade. Practically almost like June, May and June, become very hot. Fortunately, Krishna's arrangement is such that when summers come, along with that we get a lot of succulent and juicy fruits. Mangoes, watermelons, isn't it? In this sweltering heat, if you have to go out, you know how it will be. You will be sweating, the sun is beating down on your head. At that time, what is the one thing which will be most pleasing to us? We see one juice shop, go into it and drink some watermelon juice. Or we drink a mango milkshake, very cool. And you drink it, the taste is so nice. And then as you swallow that cool drink, what happens? Your heart, you feel, so satisfying, isn't it? Krishna's arrangement is so beautiful, you see. When there is summer, there are fruits which are very juicy and which are pleasing to the heart. I remember in my childhood, when we would go to, during the summer holidays, when the schools would close, we would go to our native place. It used to be in Kerala. Small town. And there all the houses, if you see, they are not like cities where you live in apartments or small bungalows with hardly any, the bungalow will be there and there will be one compound wall around it. There, Kerala, it's not like that. At least those days it was not like that, especially in a small town. One house will be there and surrounding it there will be huge amount of land. At least half an acre land has to be there. That used to be the thing. In the house, in my native place, house was there and surrounding it was lot of trees were there. There used to be water apples. I don't know what it is called in locally in Tamil, but in Kerala, in Malayalam, we call it chembanya, water apples. And these water apples are of two kinds. One is white in color, one is pink in color, reddish in color, very juicy. We as children, many of those trees used to be there in the compound. We would climb up the tree and then pluck all those fruits. Then somebody will be waiting below. We will hand it over to him and he will hand it over to the person standing on this one floor. And then we would get together and then wash them nicely, take a little salt and eat them. That's also a juicy fruit. It also comes in the summertime. Very tasty. Because as kids, we would go around, play a lot, and in the sun we would all get tired. Immediately climb up on water apple tree, pluck them, and then eat that. And there used to be a lot of jackfruit trees also. Jackfruits, of course, are too big. We children cannot take it. When we want to eat, we will tell our grandmother. Grandmother will call our uncles. Then 2-3 uncles will come, and one of them will climb on till the top. And then it's not easy cutting a jackfruit, because if you cut it and it falls to the ground, it will get smashed. All the fruit, everything will become pachdi. Then it will not be worth eating. The fruits and all will become paste. Then with great difficulty, one uncle will go, he will cut one, he will select one ripe fruit, then he will cut it, he will hand it down. One more person will be waiting below him. He will take it, he will hand it down. Slowly it has to come down. And then grandmother, mother, auntie, everybody, they will sit and they will cut it open. They will take out all the seeds and give us the fruit. We will sit and eat. That used to be, our... normally when we would go to, during summer holidays, jackfruits, mangoes. Of course, mango trees wouldn't be there because it was considered inauspicious to have mango trees within one's house. But all these other fruits used to be there. Now in the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam, sukamukad amrita drava samyutam, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. The Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is also a fruit. It's a ripened fruit. Very juicy fruit. Fruit of what? Nigama Kalpataror. It is the fruit of the desire fulfilling tree. Kalpataru. We all know what is a Kalpataru, isn't it? Desire fulfilling tree. You go to the desire tree and ask anything, it will grant your wish. The Vedas are like Kalpatarus, because whatever desires we have, whether it is for dharma, whether it is for artha, wealth, or it is for kama, satisfying our desires for sense gratification, or even up to the point of liberation, moksha, whatever you want, you approach the Vedas, there will be a solution given for you. Therefore, they are like Kalpatarus. Now, in that Kalpataru, in that desire fulfilling tree, of Nigamas, of the Vedas, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. The tree of the Vedas has also many fruits. Out of them, there is one fruit which is very ripened fruit, Galitam Phalam. And that ripened fruit, what has happened? Sukamukad Amrita Dravasamyutam. Shukadeva Goswami, the parrot of Shukadeva Goswami's beaks have touched that fruit. Normally it is said that if a parrot pecks at a ripened fruit, that fruit will become sweeter. So, Shukadeva Goswami is like a parrot. Parrot, Prabhupada mentions, parrot not because he is reciting whatever he has heard verbatim. No. He is presenting the Vedic literature in the Srimad Bhagavatam in a way which is palatable to the audience. And therefore, he is like a parrot who is tasting, whose beaks are tasting the ripened fruit of the Vedas, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And because of that, what has happened? The Srimad Bhagavatam is already the ripened fruit. It is very tasty. Now, because it has come from the lotus lips of Shukadeva Goswami, it has become Amrita Drava Samyutam. It has become like condensed nectar. Amrita is nectar. Already the fruit, the ripened fruit of Kalpataru, the Srimad Bhagavatam, is very sweet. It's like Amrita, nectar. And that now that nectar you take and you condense it, then what will happen? Like you take milk and make rabdi out of it, isn't it? Like that, you make the condensed version of the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. How sweet it will be. So, Amrita Drava Samyutam. Pibata Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam, in the very beginning it is saying, please drink the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the condensed form of the nectar which has emanated from the lips of Sukadeva Goswami. Shri Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama. Just like summertime now, what is pleasing to our tongue and our heart? You drink some juice, sweet juice, like watermelon or mango milkshake or something like that. You drink, what happens? It is very pleasing to the tongue and very satisfying to the heart. Similarly, this condensed nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam, if you hear, it is pleasing to the heart and it is pleasing to the mind and pleasing to the heart. It is pleasing to the ears and satisfying to the heart. Just like you take a watermelon, you cut it up and then you make a juice out of it. So you have extracted the essence of that watermelon. And then when you drink that, what happens? For the tongue it is very pleasing, for the heart very satisfying. Similarly, the essence of the Vedic scriptures has been condensed in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the juice of that has been extracted by Sukadeva Goswami. And if you drink that juice of the Srimad Bhagavatam through your ears, very pleasing to the ears, very satisfying to the heart. Just like now, when it is summer, the fruit juice is very pleasing. Why? Because right now we are so thirsty. Our body is dehydrated. It is so hot. It is so dry. Similarly, in this material world, all of us are in the middle of the blazing fire of material existence. And in that middle of the blazing fire of material existence, we are all dehydrated. We are all thirsting for happiness. And then in that midst of our thirsting for happiness, if we get a glass of juice, which is so sweet and cool, how pleasing it will be. And that juice which is very pleasing to the ears and satisfying to the heart is Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore the Bhagavatam is saying, Pibata Bhagavatam, drink the nectar of the Bhagavatam, not through your mouth, through your ears. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam, the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. What is that nectar? What is that sweetness which permeates the Srimad Bhagavatam? It is the rasa. It is the mellow of devotional service of our relationship with Krishna. And that mellow rasa of bhakti rasa, Krishna bhakti rasa, is tasted, is constantly relished by alayam, by the great pure devotees, by the liberated personalities. Therefore, rasika bhuvi bhavukaha, those who are desirous of relishing this nectar of relationship with Krishna, they should drink the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because no other scripture can give us this rasa. Now the point is, how to relish this nectar of this rasa, this essence of the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. How to relish it? You cannot just go and hear from anybody and everybody. Somebody is doing a Bhagavad Saptaha, you go and sit and hear. Or there is some big Jnani, he is talking about Srimad Bhagavatam, you go and hear. You will not get any rasa. How has it to be heard? How is the Srimad Bhagavatam to be received? That is mentioned here. Satam prasangat. It has to be heard from pure devotees. And when we say Satam prasangat mama virya samvido bhavanti hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. Hrit and karna. It will be very pleasing to our ears, very satisfying to the heart. Hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. The kathas, the stories which are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam of Krishna and his incarnations in relationship with his pure devotees, Hrit karna rasayanaha, they become very pleasing to the heart. All the rasa that is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, very satisfying for the heart and very pleasing to hear. How? When it is received, satam prasangat, when it is received in the association of pure devotees. And receiving in the association of pure devotees also, we have to be very careful. Just like that jackfruit or the water apple, if you have to receive it, you cannot cut it from the top and drop it down. It will all get smashed. Then it will become useless. You cannot eat it. Somebody has to cut that fruit, hand it down to someone below him. That person has to hand it down to the person below him. Finally, like that, we are standing on the ground, it has to come to our hand. Then it will be, all the fruit will be preserved and we will be able to taste the sweetness of those fruits. Just like I was telling, the jackfruit, when our uncles are cutting, they cannot cut from there and throw down. If they do that, finished. In our compound wall, there used to be coconut trees also. Coconut trees, of course, they grow very tall, especially in Kerala. Uncles and all would not be able to climb on it. We used to get a professional person. He will come, he will charge some fee, he will climb on top of the coconut tree. And from on the top of the coconut tree, he will cut one bunch. Thud, it will come and fall on the ground. We will all be, our uncles will tell all of you move away, because anybody comes close, it falls on your head, you are finished. And it will come, thud, it will fall on the ground. Then we'll go pick it up and cut it open. That you can do with a coconut. Why? Because coconut has got a hard shell, it has got that covering of fire and all those kind of things. You can cut and drop from the top. But can you do that to a mango or to a rose apple or to a jackfruit? You cannot do. It has to be handed down very carefully. Similarly, the nectar of the fruit of the Srimad Bhagavatam has to be handed down in the disciplic succession from one spiritual master, from one acharya to another acharya, to another acharya, to another acharya, to the current link in that sampradaya, and we receive it from him, from the current link. Then it will be very pleasing to the ears and satisfying to the heart. So, here Kapila is explaining the same thing to his mother, that if you want to really hear something which is very pleasing to the ears and satisfying to the heart, because that was Devahuti's question. She said, I become fed up with this material affairs. Now I'm thirsting for real happiness. That was the essence of what she was asking. Therefore, Kapila Deva is telling her the way to to achieve pleasure of the ears and satisfaction of the heart is Satam Prasangan Mama Virya Samvidaha. To hear about the glorious pastimes and activities and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna in the association of Satam Prasangat, in the association of devotees. And in that association of devotees means it has to be handed down in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Just like in our Parampara, the original fruit of Krishna Prema comes from whom? From Krishna himself. And Krishna handed over that fruit to whom? To Brahmaji. Brahma handed over that fruit to Narada Muni. Narada Muni handed it over to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva handed over to Madhvacharya. Like that it has been coming down. Ultimately, 32nd in that line of Guru Shishya Parampara, unbroken chain of disciplic succession, Prabhupada is receiving from his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the rasa, the condensed essence of the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that Prabhupada is giving it to us. And if we hear from such a personality, what happens? Hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha bhavanti. They become very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. Pleasing to the ear, satisfying the heart. Just like the cool juice you drink in the middle of sweltering heat of summer, very pleasing to the tongue and satisfying to the heart. As you drink that cool watermelon juice, as it goes down your gut, you feel, so nice in the heart, isn't it? Similarly, when we are suffering in the forest fire of material existence, suffering on the account of the three different kinds of kleshas, Adhyatmika klesha, Adibhautika klesha, Adidaivika klesha, and over and above that, on top of that, birth, death, disease, old age, we are really being ground by these miseries in the material nature. While this grinding is going on, what happens is, we hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from Prabhupada. What happens? Hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. That rasa, that juice, that condensed essence of the fruit of Srimad Bhagavatam becomes very pleasing to the ears and satisfying to the heart. Otherwise, we can go on hearing so many affairs in the material world. We can hear about politics, elections, sports, So many things are there for people to hear in this material world. None of them are hrit karna rasayanaha. None of them are pleasing to the ear and satisfying to the heart. We can hear for some time, after that we lose interest. Because it is not pleasing, it is not satisfying the heart. So we switch from one subject to another subject. That is why you pick up a newspaper, it will not be one page. It will not carry only one news article. There will be huge, at least 100 news articles will be there. Because everybody knows, one news article if you publish, nobody will read that newspaper. Because it is not hrit karna rasayanaha. When people pick up that newspaper, they are thinking, I'll read something which is pleasing to hear and satisfying to the heart. They read one news article, not satisfying. Read the other one, not satisfying. Read the other one, not satisfying. Read the other one. They'll read the whole newspaper, finally put it into the dustbin. You see, we are constantly searching for that subject matter by hearing which it will be pleasing to our ear and satisfying to the heart. I don't want to hear anything more. I am so satisfied by hearing this. But every day, newspaper, new news has to be there. Suppose one newspaper is there, only one article is there, every day same article is printed. Who will buy? Who will read? Nobody will buy. Nobody will read. Because it is not pleasing to the ear, it's not satisfying to the heart. Whereas Srimad Bhagavatam you take, one literature, millions of years, thousands of years, 5,000 years have gone by. And still you can read that Srimad Bhagavatam and don't read anything else. Only Bhagavatam you keep reading all your life. You will never be satiated. Why? Because it is hrit karna rasayanaha kathaha. But that hrit karna rasayana kathaha, the Srimad Bhagavatam can become hrit karna rasayana kathaha only when satam prasangat. It is heard in the association of pure devotees. You have to hear from a pure devotee who is coming in that disciplic succession, unbroken chain of disciplic succession. Then what happens? Tajjoshanad asvapavarga vartmani. We will progress on the path of apavarga, liberation from the cycle of birth and death within this material world. And the sign of progress on that path of liberation by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam is known by the symptoms. What are the symptoms? Shraddha, Ratir, Bhaktir, Anukramishyati. Shraddha, our conviction in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in devotional service has to become very firmly fixed up. And that Shraddha will further lead to Ratihi. It will lead to the point of Raganuga Bhakti. On the platform of sadhana bhakti, the main foundation is Shraddha. So with Shraddha we engage in sadhana bhakti. What happens? If we engage in Vaidhi bhakti, we will come to the stage of Raganuga bhakti. We will get a taste, ruchi, rati. Then what happens? On that stage, that taste for devotional service becomes the foundation, it becomes the driving force. On the stage of Vaidhi Bhakti, it is Shraddha which is the driving force, the faith, the conviction in the words of the spiritual master and in the words of Krishna. And when we progress on the path of Apavarga, what will happen is we will graduate from the stage of Shraddha to the stage of Rati or Ruchi or the stage of taste. And when we progress from there further, what will happen? We will come to the stage of Bhakti. Shraddha, Ratir, Bhaktir, Anukramishyati. They come one after the other. So Bhakti here refers to Prema Bhakti. Then when we come to the stage of Bhava and Prema, then it is no more Shraddha, no more Ruchi. It is neither the faith nor the taste which is driving us to engage in devotional service to Krishna. It is love of Krishna which is driving us to engage in devotional service. If we are hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source, we have to feel ourselves progressing on these three fronts. Our conviction has to increase, simultaneously, little by little, our taste for our service keeps increasing, and our love for Prabhupada and Krishna will also have to keep increasing. This is the sure shot symptom of our progress on Apavarga Vartmani, Tajjoshanad Asu Apavarga Vartmani. On the path of liberation, these things we have to experience one after the other. So, therefore, in cultivating devotional service, one has to be very careful to accept such devotional service in the association of pure devotees who are coming in the Guru Shishya Parampara, and one has to experience the gradual progress in the path of devotional service by increasing our Shraddha, our faith, our Ruchi, our taste, and our love for devotional service, for devotees and for Krishna. We cannot approach Krishna directly. If we think that Srimad Bhagavatam is the Rasamalayam, it is the storehouse of rasa, of that mellow which is very pleasing to hear and satisfying to the heart. Actually, the Srimad Bhagavatam is like that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his discussion with Ramananda Raya, it is mentioned that the Srimad Bhagavatam is Bhakti Rasa Swarupa, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarupa. It is the Swarupa, it is the personification of Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Whatever mellow rasa we can experience in our relationship with Krishna, that is personified in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the personification of rasa. That means every word of the Srimad Bhagavatam is dripping with that sweet mellow, that taste of the juice of the fruit of the ripened fruit of the desire tree of the Vedic scriptures. This is the reality about Srimad Bhagavatam. So someone may think, oh, this is the wonderful fruit of the Srimad Bhagavatam, of the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me take the Bhagavatam and start reading it every day. I will not be able to experience that rasa if I try to read the Srimad Bhagavatam directly on my own. I have to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, hear the Srimad Bhagavatam described by a pure devotee. Just like Parikshit Maharaj also, he relished the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. How? He did not pick up the Bhagavatam and start reading on his own. He heard from Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami was the disciple of Vyasadeva. And therefore, he heard from a pure devotee in that unbroken chain of disciplic succession. And therefore, Parikshit Maharaj was able to appreciate and able to taste that sweet nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And because Parikshit Maharaj was able to taste that nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam, what did he tell Shukadeva Goswami? He told Shukadeva Goswami that when I am hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from you, the forces of hunger and thirst are not affecting me. This is very significant because Parikshit Maharaj was seated on the bank of the Ganga without food or water or sleep. No food, no water, no sleep. What will be your situation? You can imagine what will be your situation. Recently, there was a court ruling. The court was saying about somebody had been called for questioning by the enforcement directorate, ED. And they in their course of interrogation, they were for hours together interrogating the person without allowing him to sleep also, take rest. And when the matter came in front of the court said, sleep is the fundamental right of a person. You cannot interrogate a person by depriving him of sleep. You see how it is. Even the court is saying sleep is a fundamental right of the individual. You cannot, even if you are interrogating a criminal or a suspected criminal, to take out the truth, you cannot interrogate him by subjecting him to the torture of not allowing him to sleep. You cannot do that. Now imagine the position of Parikshit Maharaj, 7 days, no sleep. And not only no sleep, no food. Not only no sleep and no food, no water also. And we can think, if we go without food and water even for half a day, what is our situation? We all know. Isn't it? But you look at Parikshit Maharaj, 7 days, no sleep, no food, no water. And he is sitting erect, straight. We have seen all the paintings of Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami is sitting erect, straight, full consciousness, and he is telling Sukadeva Goswami, I am not feeling the force of hunger and thirst when I am hearing the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam from you. This is the effect of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. The forces of material miseries upon us, they will stop, they will reduce, their influence will start reducing. Parikshit Maharaj was able to overcome the influence of hunger and thirst and sleep. Why? Because he heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. He didn't try to directly read the Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, if we also have to become free from the pangs of material existence, if we have to become free from the influence of material miseries which are constantly hammering us, like you are seeing currently all over the world, especially in India, there is a heat wave. People are suffering. There is no rain also. Many cities, there is no water also. People are suffering. They cannot do anything about it. Adi Daivika Klesha. It is a suffering imposed by the Devatas, by superior forces of material nature. You cannot do anything. You have to suffer and suffer and suffer. But if you are hearing the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Prabhupada every day, the force of these things will not affect you. It will not hit you. Therefore, if we want to really relish the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will negate the effect of material miseries upon us, then it has to be heard from the lips of a pure devotee only. If we hear from the lips of Srila Prabhupada, then the effect is different. We can see how Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gita as it is. By reading Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gita as it is, what happened? Many people started tasting the nectar, the rasa. And by tasting that nectar, what happened? They gave up all their material habits, their desires for sense gratification, and became devotees. They were all Westerners. They had no idea, no linking with our Indian culture. They had no idea who is Krishna, what is Bhagavad-gita. All such people, simply by hearing from Prabhupada, they gave up all their material sense gratificatory activities and became devotees. Why? Because they started tasting the rasa of relationship with Krishna. Before Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gita as it is, there were so many Bhagavad-gitas in the market. And very intellectual people, very big scholars had written the Bhagavad-gita, their commentaries on the Bhagavad-gita. How many people gave up all their activities, became transformed in their heart, and became devotees of Krishna? Not even one. But after Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gita was published, thousands and thousands and thousands of people, even today, they read Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gita, life transforms. Why? Because when the Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam are heard from the lips of Prabhupada, pure devotee of Krishna, it becomes Hrit Karna Rasayanaha Kathaha. It becomes very pleasing to the heart. This is epitomized by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India, we all have heard about that famous story of the Brahmana who was sitting and chanting the verses of the Bhagavad-gita with all kinds of mistakes. He was not chanting properly. Left, right and center there were mistakes in his pronunciation. And all other Brahmanas were seeing him, laughing and mocking him. Oh, look at him, this fellow is a Gita Vidwan, like that they used to tease him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that everybody is teasing this man, but he is not bothering. He is sitting and continuing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approached him and asked him, why are you, I see that you are chanting all the verses wrongly. Why? He said, I am an illiterate. I cannot read the Bhagavad-gita. But my spiritual master has ordered me. Therefore, whatever I know, I am chanting. My spiritual master ordered me every day. I have to chant the 18 chapters, all the verses of the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad-gita. Because I am an illiterate, whatever I know, I am trying to repeat it. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, but then I see that there are tears in your eyes. Then that Brahmana replied, but what to do? Whenever I chant the verses of the Bhagavad-gita, what comes in front of my eyes is Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna. And who is Krishna? Supreme Personality of Godhead. He should be sitting on the chariot, Arjuna should be driving. but look at my Krishna, he is loving his devotee so much, he has become the servant of his devotee. When I think of this, I cannot control myself, tears start flowing from my eyes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately embraced him and he said, you have understood really the essence of the Bhagavad-gita. The others have not understood. You see how this Brahmana, he was an illiterate. He was not a learned scholar. All the others were learned scholars who were making fun of him, the other Brahmanas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not say that they have understood the essence of the Bhagavad-gita, because although they were great scholars, they would be analyzing, reading the Bhagavad-gita and analyzing it every day. Tears would not flow from their eyes. They were not tasting the rasa of the Bhagavad-gita. Whereas this Brahmana who was illiterate, not a scholar, he did not have any knowledge. No way he could have studied the Bhagavad-gita in a very analytical way. But when he is reciting the verses of the Bhagavad-gita, he doesn't even understand their meaning. Tears are flowing from the eyes. Why? Because he is tasting the rasa which is there in the Bhagavad-gita. Therefore, we have to understand that simply if one is a jnani, one is a scholar, one cannot taste the rasa which is there in the pages of the Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam. One has to be blessed by one's spiritual master. This illiterate Brahmana, because he had firm faith, Shraddha in the words of his spiritual master, although he was an illiterate, to the best possible extent, he was following those instructions of his Guru. Therefore, Guru blessed him and he was able to relish the rasa of the Bhagavad-gita. Therefore, we have to understand that unless we are blessed by a pure devotee, we cannot taste the rasa in the verses of the Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam. Therefore, we have to hear the Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Prabhupada. Then we can taste the rasa, the mellow that is there, that sweet mellow that is there in the verses of the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad-gita. And that exactly is the instruction which Kapila Deva is giving to his mother Devahuti. Satam prasangat mama virya samvidaha. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, bhavanti hritkarna rasayanaha kathaha, is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. And it doesn't stop there. Tajjoshanada swapavarga vartmani. Tajjoshanat. By cultivating such knowledge, by cultivating it as a habit, to every day hear the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Prabhupada, from the pure devotees, what happens? By cultivating such knowledge, Ashu apavarga vartmani, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation. And Shraddha, Ratir, Bhaktir, Anukramishyati. Thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. So we simply have to hear the nectar of the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gita every day from Srila Prabhupada, and all these results are assured for us. I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.